So I have the pleasure now of welcoming Will Brummett to the stage. Will is the Director of Student Engagement at Campus Compact, and in that role, he manages and oversees all the tremendous student support and efforts on campus, the Newman Civic Fellowship, the Student Leadership Design Team, Student Compact, and other student engagement programs. So, Will?
Thanks so much, Byron, for that. I had to text my wife while you were speaking to not be alarmed by the large credit card charge when I pre-ordered 10 copies of the book. But I really appreciate your inspiring remarks, because I think shifting to a community-centric paradigm in this moment is not only essential, but I think it's also one element that we actually are seeing our students lead us to do. And I'm really honored in my role today as Director of Student Engagement to get to honor 4 students who are really in their own context helping shift the work and really helping our universities and our communities reimagine what change looks like in this era. So it's my honor today to present the 2026 Student Leadership Awards. These awards recognize students who demonstrate inspiring leadership qualities through civic and community engagement. Students who receive this award are leading change on their campuses and their communities, but most importantly, they are inspiring their peers to do the same. Recipients of the Student Leadership Awards are selected on their basis of their leadership and community impact, their ability to handle and overcome adversity, their commitment to learning, and most of all, their deep engagement with both campus and community partners. A few of the winners for this year's class, and as a few of the inaugural winners from last year's honorees, are current and former Newman Civic Fellows, which is a Campus Compact program that equips nominated students with the skills, resources, and knowledge to become dynamic public problem solvers on their campuses and in their communities. This fellowship strengthens their leadership, nurtures their passions, and most importantly, it connects them with peers nationwide to build a powerful network of promising and emerging change makers. So if you're sitting out there and you are associated with a current Campus Compact member institution, or you're hoping to join us hopefully this year, I would like to quickly plug and remind you that nominations are currently open for the 2026-2027 Newman Civic Fellowship class until late April. And I may be biased, of course, speaking as both a Campus Compact employee and a former Newman Civic Fellow myself, but I do find participation in this 15-year fellowship program one of the best, if not the best, benefits of Campus Compact membership. So I'd highly encourage every member to contact your president, your chancellor's office, your civic engagement, or community engagement student to nominate and uplift one of your incredible student change makers to be a part of this program. I will now pause for an awkward 5-minute silence while you email your president. All right, but with that being said, I would now like to actually begin to honor these incredible students with us today. And I'm first would like to begin by presenting the first of our 2026 Student Leadership Impact Awards to Hilary Ramirez, an international affairs student at Miami-Dade. Let me tell you a little bit about Hilary. Hilary is a student in the Honors College Miami-Dade, pursuing a degree in international relations. As the president of the Phi Theta Kappa Beta Kappa Iota chapter, nailed it, she leads 2 initiatives. Spark Against Cancer, which is a civic engagement initiative raising awareness and funds for cancer research, and the Urban Tranquility Initiative, which is a program that advocates for community wellness and sustainability. Recognized as a Coca-Cola Leaders of Promise Scholar and recipient of the Miami-Dade College Rising Star Award, Hilary has dedicated over 290 hours of community service and civic leadership. Rooted in her Dominican identity, Hilary believes that leadership is an act of service and empathy. So please join me in congratulating and welcoming to the stage Hilary Ramirez for winning the 2026 Student Leadership Award.
At 13 years old, I left my home country, the Dominican Republic, living with my friends, my neighborhood, and even my own language. I did so with my mother, a woman who left her own dreams just so I could build the foundations of mine. Now, as a soon-to-be graduate student from the Honors College at Miami-Dade College, I plan to pursue education and continue in a transfer university and becoming the first woman in my family to do so. With doing that, With doing that, I plan to hold service as one of my pillars. This work has not only been for myself, but for the people who work with me. I want to again thank my mother for her sacrifices and for holding my hand when I thought I couldn't do it. I want to thank the Miami-Dade College faculty and administrators for believing in the Spark Against Cancer and Tranquility Initiative. Thank you for supporting my team. I also want to thank my Phi Theta Kappa advisor, Dr. Tibaquira. He's someone that pushes students to go forward even though they don't believe in themselves, and thank you for pushing me. And to the Hispanic community, to the students, quiero decirles que aunque tenemos muchos sacrificios y estamos en un momento de nuestras vidas donde es difícil continuar, no dejen que sus sueños eviten el futuro, que ustedes son luchadores y pueden hacer mucho más. Gracias.
Amazing. Hilary will be sitting on the front row for all the college presidents who would like to compete for Hilary to come to your institution next. All right, next up, Campus Compact is pleased to present the next 2026 Student Leadership Award to Rishika Kartik, an undergraduate student and the current Newman Civic Fellow at Brown University. Rishika is a senior at Brown, where she's not only studying biology, but is actually also earning Brown's first major in accessible design. She is the founder of Touch and Create Studios, which has delivered more than 65 art workshops to over 1,000 blind participants. And she's been recognized by the United Nations, the White House, and the Andy Warhol Foundation. Rishika was the only undergraduate of a cohort of 80 national advocates on Prevent Blindness's legislative advocacy team, where Rishika actually lobbied Congress for the bill H.R. 8400, which is aimed at establishing nationwide childhood vision loss screening. She now helps disability advocates, healthcare professionals, and scholars reframe public understanding of disability through her work integrating both science and art. Please join me in congratulating Rishika Kartik for winning a 2026 Student Leadership Award.
Hope often feels impossible, or, at the very least, improbable. I was born to a math teacher on March 14th, 2005, Pi Day. So I inherited both her hyper-rationalist tendency to overthink and her love for key lime pie. If there are any math lovers out there, ask me about my custom pie earrings after the session. The world did not make much sense to me. Science did. As a rational realist, I regarded hope with suspicion and a healthy dose of skepticism. Adults would often tell me that I had the power to change the world, but things just didn't seem to add up, mathematically speaking. Have you studied probability? I would ask. The odds are not looking good. But when I was 18, I found hope in an unexpected place, the science lab. And their fluorescent lighting and the smell of ethanol and other things that I probably should not have inhaled, I learned what it meant to feel awe. The human egg cell is one of the only cells we can see with our naked eye. Holding a human ovary in one gloved hand, I examined millions of substructures unfurling beneath me under the microscope. Infinite universes. I saw ovarian cells talking to each other, multiplying exponentially, forming layer upon layer of potential for human life. That small white room filled with kaleidoscopic color, as millions of questions taunted me with the prospect of answers. An egg and a sperm need to beat 1 in 4 quadrillion odds to create a viable offspring. Our very existence is an improbable event. So is penicillin, or the cure for smallpox. Science, a field based in rational thought, cannot be sustained without something far greater, hope, the willingness to explore the improbable. This is why people pursue PhDs. This is why throughout history we've been no stranger to making the improbable possible, whether through the civil rights movement or the disability justice movement or the women's rights movement, without which I would not have been able to step foot in that lab. This is why people have children or become politically active or start community gardens. This is why, even against the odds, people believe. I think that to hope is perhaps one of the most human things we do. We can make the improbable possible. We have and we will. After all, it's in our DNA. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Rishika, for those really inspiring words, and also for reminding me that I'm really hungry for pie. Next up, I'm really pleased and honored to present the next 2026 Student Leadership Award to Roberto Garcia, who is an undergraduate student studying English and sociology at Michigan State University. Roberto was actually born and raised in Lansing, Michigan, as the youngest member of a proud Afro-Cuban immigrant family. As a first-generation college student and the current Newman Civic Fellow from Michigan State, Roberto understands the importance of continued education. Growing up, he witnessed his immigrant father working tirelessly to support his wife and children. And so today, as a community-engaged scholar, Roberto works tirelessly with the Tenant Resource Center for Mid-Michigan, where he actively provides support for people in housing crises. And he's received a Newman Mini Grant for his efforts. In the future, Roberto intends to pursue a career where he can support people facing housing crises using empathetic approaches and innovative techniques. Please join me in congratulating Roberto Garcia for receiving the 2026 Student Leadership Award.
I first want to thank Khadijah Erickson and the Tenant Resource Center of Mid-Michigan for allowing me to intern with her for the past year and help me realize my passion for housing advocacy. And thank you to Stephanie Brewer and the Center for Community Engaged Learning for providing me a stipend so that I can eat as I realize these passions. America has a problem. Well, it has a few. We've highlighted a lot in this conference. But today I want to highlight housing. In 2024, homelessness peaked at over 700,000 individuals, which is an 18% increase from last year. In 2023, 42% of US households were below the ALICE threshold. ALICE means asset limited, income constrained, and employed. So nearly half of all American households were employed, yet still financially insecure. Then, in 2023, that same year, the monthly cost of rent increased faster than the cost of owning a home, which is the first time in a decade. Now, I didn't want to come here and just shout doom and gloom and make you go home depressed on your last day. There is hope. Organizations like the Tenant Resource Center are bridging the gap between government oversight of a disinvested population and the right to live. Every day, these organizations are keeping these otherwise overlooked populations alive. At the Tenant Resource Center alone, we've provided shelters for the unhoused during the winter plunge in January, attended court hearings when the city pressed charges against a homeless encampment, and listened to low-income tenants' issues when they did not have the financial means to secure representation. In East Lansing, we've pushed back against otherwise exclusionary housing ordinances that would have made being homeless criminal in the city. And in my capacity as a Newman Civic Fellow, I've received a mini grant to create resource kits for the unhoused in Lansing, which will be distributed next month. You can clap for that, go ahead. All this is to say that these organizations help people through public support, your support, and telling representatives what we need. There is hope for a future where the right to live in fair and decent housing is acknowledged, and it takes all of us to work to get it. And please remember, we are all one economic setback away from facing housing insecurity ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Roberto, for doing that inspiring work and for keeping our promise to do our secret handshake. Last but certainly not least, I'm honored to recognize and present the 2026 Student Leadership Award to Mykala Bledsoe, who's a master's student in sociology studying at the George Washington University in Washington, D.C. Mykala actually earned her BA in sociology at GW in May 2025 and is currently pursuing her MA in that same subject. She's been serving with Little Friends for Peace, which is a nonprofit in the Washington, D.C. community that advocates for nonviolent communication and peace education for every generation in the city, from after-school programs to summer camps to even folks experiencing homelessness. Mykala has served as a co-community engagement team lead, where she facilitated intersectional and social-emotional learning services and coordinated volunteer engagement across George Washington's campus. Mykala also works as a student support assistant in GW's Office of Advocacy and Support, serving survivors of sexual assault, domestic abuse, and stalking. Her research interests focus on inclusive community care and harm reduction practices, particularly for those experiencing substance abuse and survivorship. Please join me in welcoming to the stage the 2026 Student Leadership Award winner, Mykala Bledsoe.
Thank you all so much. I truly feel so much gratitude standing up here and looking out at you all today and just being so inspired from sessions yesterday and this morning, and I hope you're all enjoying the conference. I feel really just grateful to meet you all. I feel gratitude for all my mentors, peers, and community members in organizations like Little Friends for Peace and the Office of Advocacy and Support, who have really given me a space to build capacity, to grow as myself and as a leader, and to be able to serve my community. I also feel so grateful for my family, who have motivated me through their own mental health and substance abuse. My grandfather, who witnessed violence on reservation, and my grandmother and her garden, who have been a rock for me throughout my whole life and just a space to decompress and talk and just tend to the earth. I also, I grew up in rural Western Maryland, a survivor of myself of sexual violence, and now I'm just really astounded to be here in Chicago for the first time and standing up here and surrounded by such wise people. And I'm also incredibly grateful to be here and feeling safe. When there are so many people around the world in Palestine, Sudan, Congo, that do not have that same privilege. And I think we always need to make space for them in these conversations. And in the United States as well, with immigrants that are being targeted with unnecessary, unwarranted violence. My wonderful sister community in Hilary, Uganda, as well, that I've been working with for over 4 years now, and they're always on my mind and in my heart everywhere I go. I'm also so angry to be standing up here and feeling like there's been so little change with all of this, and I know we're all feeling that too. I'm standing here as a first-generation student, a queer student with disabilities, and I'm tired, and I'm sure a lot of you are tired and angry, but I believe that we have to keep asking ourselves, what more can we do? What weight can I carry to help take something off of someone else? And I think we're all trying to ask ourselves that question and really grapple with that together, and I appreciate that, because I truly believe that we must always deeply listen to marginalized communities, and listening is the first step to change. We have to create space to honor everyone's identity and what everyone is bringing to a space or a circle, like we call it at Little Friends for Peace with our peace circles. And mutual aid, empathy, just cultural understanding and community care is really the bare minimum right now, but it's essential. And I believe that it is possible with authentic solidarity. I believe that we can live in a world that is peaceful, that does not have violence, and that we can see each other for who they are in humans, and that basic human rights are respected around the world. And I think that we have to believe it in order to see it, as much as it feels like there's so much fear and doom right now. So I really just want to say thank you again to you all for inspiring me, for showing up tired and angry still, and sharing your skills to create change. Because I truly believe we are not free until we are all free. So thank you.
Let's give one more round of applause collectively for these incredible Student Leadership Award winners. We know at Campus Compact the students are leading the change on your campuses in the community, and I hope today's inspirational speeches from these students and hearing a little bit about their work has provided you a chance to look through a microscope at yourself and internally and what has inspired you to continue to do the work as we shift paradigms from student-centric to community-centric work. I hope it's given you a mirror to look into your own campuses and reflect back where are the students you see in your campuses who could be these advocates on this stage maybe next year or a new Miss Civic Fellow. And I hope they also have given you all, most importantly, a telescope to look forward into new worlds that these students are building and actively inviting you to come alongside.